This is That Dope Dad Podcast. Real talk, real growth, real fatherhood. No fake motivation, no perfect dads, just real conversations about becoming better men, husbands, and fathers. That Dope Dad Podcast starts now with your host, Michael Hedgecock.
Yeah. No, I admire you for doing this. I mean, because at the end of the day, like I know there's a ton of people who start, or want to start podcasts and they start it, but then they don't really keep up with it because it takes a lot of time and energy to really get it going.
Yeah, it's just like anything, like, the gym, it's just consistency. And one
Right.
thing I said, if I'm going to jump into this, I'm going to make sure a podcast comes out every week. And so the way I structured it is I'm going to do a solo one, 10 minutes
Yeah.
long every week, and then a dad the next week.
Smart.
Because I didn't think
Smart.
I thought it would take a while to get dads on board, but it got 70. I have 70 dads in
Ooh.
line right now.
Nice.
And I'm just reaching out to the ones I find, intriguing to me. Like you, like I love fitness. I see what
Yeah.
you're doing. You're a business
Sure.
owner. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, he's one of the top 5 I want to talk to. And you hit me back. And that's the crazy thing too. When you hit people up, I get it. You don't hit everybody back, but I make it a very conscious effort to respond
Yeah.
to everybody.
Yeah.
Because I get a lot of dads too also reaching out, just telling me their life story.
Sure.
And some of it's really dark, and I don't, I just give them support. They don't want to be on
Yeah.
the podcast, but they just appreciate and like, thank you
Yeah.
for doing this. I'm like, yeah, man, I've been in the dark,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I get that. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
yeah. So yeah, today talking with transformational coach, entrepreneur, father of 2, the third on the way,
Yep.
and someone who's built businesses while building family.
Yeah.
That's
For
difficult.
sure.
Building
Yeah.
businesses while building families.
Very
Growing
difficult.
a business while little ones are growing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's not
Yeah.
easy, but hey, we're making it work. So yeah.
Yes, yes. So welcome to That Dope Dad, man. Sharif, I'm gonna butcher your last name. How do you say? I'm bad with names.
So I always tell everybody it's Taiwo. So you think like a Thai and then Wo. So Taiwo, that's my last name. Yeah.
Sharif Taiwo. All right,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. For
How's your
sure.
day been going for you?
Hey, it's been busy, man. I'm a little tired, obviously, just like any other dad. We deal with a lot of responsibilities throughout the day and not even just like physically demanding, but like mentally demanding things. But I feel good though. I feel really honored and grateful to be on this podcast and really being able to share my story, share some of my experiences with the listening audience. And so I'm excited for this for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. And where are you at right now? What part of the States?
So I'm from Hyattsville, Maryland, but me and my wife, we actually recently moved up to Hagerstown, Maryland. I don't think anybody really knows where Hagerstown is, so I'll kind of give you a brief understanding of it. It's uh never eat shredded wheat. So it's northwest Maryland. So it's at the top of the tip area of Maryland. And literally Pennsylvania is maybe 10 minutes away and West Virginia is 10 minutes away. So we're like right at that top area over there. So
Okay.
currently in Hagerstown. Yep.
Yeah. Where are you born? Never been to Maryland, but
Yeah.
you're originally born in Nigeria.
I was. Yeah. So I was born in Nigeria. I came to the States when I was 3 years old. Both my parents, very studious people. And it's so funny how I even got to the States, because, my dad was one of those people that was like really just wanted a better life. And so he was able to get to the States through like first getting his visa to go to Australia on like I believe it's like an education visa. So he went to school in Australia. And then from Australia, he was able to then get a visa to United States. And once he got to the United States, obviously, he sent for me and my mom to come out. And so that was, how I made it here to the US at the age of 3, for sure.
Okay, so you have siblings as well.
I do. So I'm actually the oldest of 4. So I have 2 younger brothers and a younger sister. My younger brothers we're roughly almost close to about 3 years apart. So I'm 43. My brother right after me is 40. Then the brother right after that is, I believe he's 37. And then my sister's 10 years younger than me, so she would be 33 this year. Yeah.
40, 43 is a beautiful age, man.
Yeah, I love it, man. I just turned 43 literally what, like 2 days ago? What's today? June 11th, three
That's
days ago.
rare.
So June 8th was my birthday. So 43, man, I'm here. I like to think that I'm aging backwards too, by the way. So I don't feel
Absolutely.
43. I feel like I'm looking younger and I'm getting better with age. And so I always tell everybody age is just a number. It's really how you perceive it, right? And so sometimes I even forget that I'm 43. Like I operate and move almost kind of like I was in my, still in my 20s and even my 30s and stuff. So, um, but I love the wisdom that comes with age 43 for sure.
No, I'm on the same field as you. Like my
Yeah,
20s, just a shit show. 30s, trying to figure it out,
for sure.
going through the darkest moments. And then when I
Yeah,
hit 40, it was just like I woke up and I said, okay, I get what I want to be and what I want to do and who I need in my life and who I want in my life. And it just became a little bit, I learned how to manage the stress a lot better and get
for
rid of
sure.
a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
tell
I
everybody,
mean,
don't go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, yeah, I think every man kind of has that kind of like epiphany at 40, right? I mean, I remember when I first turned 40, I was like, something just kind of hit me. Like, one, you kind of go through this like, damn, I'm 40, right? It almost hits you in the age like, wait a minute, I like, because we all look at 40 as like old. At least when we're growing up, we're like 40, you're old, right? And then when I actually officially hit 40, I just remember having this like kind of like epiphany. Like a lot of things just kind of changed mentally in my life. Even who I chose to surround myself with, the direction that I wanted to go in life. I think everything just gets a little bit more serious, right? Because I think you start to realize that, you probably have hit probably like halfway through your life, you know what I mean? And so now it's like, hey, let's get serious. Let's move in a certain way. We don't have the same amount of time that we had before. And so yeah, things just shifted for me, and kind of like what you were talking about, like it just you just kind of go through this metamorphosis where you're like, man, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I'm gonna make sure that I stay consistent with it, and all the things that I procrastinated in life in doing, I'm gonna make sure that I do right now, and that's kind of like where I am with it, and so, I love it. I love the 40s.
Yeah, absolutely. I think any man in his 30s that just heard what you said is going to feel a lot better turning
Yeah,
40 now. So,
for sure,
so yeah.
for sure.
Let's go back. Let's go back to your roots. You talked about growing up in a very strict Nigerian household with your
Yeah,
father focused on success, financials.
yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, any any viewers that's listening to this, if you like, I grew up in a Nigerian household, and I can say this about many households that are similar. Like I think I've ran into some friends that have like Caribbean backgrounds, have African backgrounds, and things like that. And I think it's not just a Nigerian household, but it's a household where there's a lot of a lot of similarities amongst different types of households. But in my household, for sure, I grew up in a very, very strict environment. My father was one of those people that was like super studious. His whole thing about
Mhm.
life was the way you become successful is by burying your head into some books, right? And educating yourself and being knowledgeable, and then not only being knowledgeable but applying that knowledge into areas of your life so that you can be successful. And so that was my upbringing, and like I literally was always in the books. I was a straight A student, because if I wasn't a straight A student,
Nice.
I was in trouble. Like I remember, and I can share this with you, Michael. Like I'll share this story because this kind of sums up my childhood. I remember when I was like 6 years old in the first grade. And this is like the first time that, you know, in my, schooling, that I started getting letter grades. Before that, we were getting like ones, twos, threes, and stuff like that. It was like the metric was totally different. So I started getting
Yep.
letter grades, right? So I remember I got my first report card in the first grade, and I got all A's and a B. And Michael, that B was in like what I consider like a dumb subject. It was in handwriting. And it's so
Mm.
funny now because if you see my handwriting is very, very precise. Everybody that sees me, sees my handwriting, and they're like, how are you writing like this? Because it looks literally like a typewriter. And I think it stems from some of the things that I went through as a kid. So anyway, so I got this B on my report card, and I remember being super excited about all the A's that I got. And I was even comparing my report card to some of the people, some of my peers on the school bus on the way home. And I remember one kid was like, he got like a few A's, a couple B's, and a C. And he was super excited. He was like, he's going to ask his parents for a bike. And I was like, man, I got to look at my report card. I got all A's and a B. I might as well ask my parents for a car. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm killing it, right? And so I remember I hopped off the school bus and I couldn't wait to get home to show my parents my report card. Now we lived in two parent household where they both worked, right? And so I get home, my mom is there. She happens to be there. I probably just came home from like a shift at work and everything. And so I showed her my report card and she looked at it and she saw all the A's and then she fixated on the B. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, why are you so fixated on this B? Why don't you just focus on all the A's? And she said to me, she was like, hey, when your father gets home, I want you to show him your report card. And I went from extreme jubilance, like, oh man, I'm doing good, to all of a sudden now I'm kind of fearful for my life because she kind of told me like, hey, show this to your father. So I remember my father gets home and I showed him my report card, and he literally had the same response. It was like ignored all the A's. It was almost kind of like expected. And then he fixated on the B and he asked me, he's like, why did you get a B in handwriting? And for me, I'm devastated because I'm 6 years old. And I'm like, why are you so fixated on this B? Like, why is this such a big deal? And I remember my father said to me, he said, listen, he said, are you a full-time student? And of course, I'm 6 years old. Of course, I'm a full-time student, right? And so he said, I expect full-time grades.
Mhm.
And that literally shifted my whole childhood, like everything. Now I realize that B's weren't accepted in the household, right? Whatever I did in life, I had to put my best effort. And if I fell short of an A or something close to an A, then that was me not doing my best. And so I applied that same logic to pretty much everything that I do. And so although my childhood was rough, I do say that the disciplines that I picked up from my father and from even from my mom was what made me who I am today. So yes, I went through some troubling times, but those are the things that made me who I am today, and why I've been able to create successes in certain aspects of my life, because of the disciplines that I learned as a young kid from as early as 6 years old. So yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty wild. They also go back and actually remember all that too as a 6-year-old.
yeah,
Um, how are you with your kids now with the grades? Are you a little bit more lenient?
I'm
I know the
very, I'm
education system's totally different than what we had in the 80s and 90s. Um, and that's a whole nother topic because I feel a certain way about the educational system now with
yeah,
a 7-year-old and a 19-year-old.
yeah.
So how are you with your kids and when they bring home a report card that's maybe half A's, half B's?
To be honest, I'm very different, but I'm very different in a way where yes, I still put expectations on my kids in terms of like, well, really it's really just my daughter. My daughter's 11 years old. My son is 2, so he hasn't gotten to the point yet where he's, in schooling and getting letter grades, but I have the expectations where I want them to have success in school, right? But I don't put those same type of like pressures on them that I was put under as a kid. And in fact, I remember I was wise enough as a 6-year-old and even as a kid overall to understand the differences between some of the things that my father was trying to get us to do as kids and where I felt like he could have been better. I understood at least that much, right? My father grew up in Nigeria, right? And so his schooling was very, very strict. Similar he basically was trying to replicate what he went through with us. And Nigeria is a totally different ball game, right? You know what I mean, in Nigeria, if you can go to school and the teacher will discipline you, like literally beat you if you did something wrong. That's not happening in the United States, right? And so I'm just giving you kind of like the differences. And so his ideologies really stem from his upbringing, and he brought it to the United States and he brought it to us. And I just remember thinking, like, listen, we're in the United States. This is a whole different ball game. Like, we don't operate this way. And so I've always told myself, when I have kids, that yes, I would create expectations for them in terms of like I want them to be successful, but it would look totally different. And so with my daughter, of course, I want her to have good grades, and she has been getting good grades. She gets the A's. She also gets the B's, but I don't chastise her for the B. Instead, what I do is I encourage her to obviously get better, like improve on those grades, as opposed to it being like, oh, it's the end of the world because you got a B. And so I'm a little bit more lenient, but I still have the same expectations.
Yeah, so you put some standards on the
Yeah,
table
for
for her.
sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah, for
totally
sure.
understand where your dad's coming from because my son's half Cambodian.
Yeah,
I went to his high school that was kind of a melting pot. We had, or just in Seattle's a melting pot. We have all ethnicities, all cultures. So as a kid,
yeah,
you experience. That's one thing I loved about high school. As a kid, I got to experience, Ethiopian food, Vietnamese food real early, and then kids across the way at like all white schools, they didn't know what cultural food tasted like. And one thing
right.
I remember is some of my friends that parents came over here as teenagers or young adults, they brought a lot of trauma within them.
Mm,
And that anxiety I can see they were putting on their kids, the chaos that they went through in a country that was, out of control. And I see it in my family too, because the Cambodian community, it's that's a whole part of history that's not talked about, the genocide in the 70s and 80s.
yeah,
And my Lena's parents coming over here, you know, they have this, you know, um, this just this trauma and chaos
yeah.
built into them that they put on these kids. You feel like your dad maybe brought some of that over, starting a new life in a first world country,
Yeah,
or
100%. I think every immigrant to this country in a way feels as though like if you don't take advantage of the opportunities that this country provides for you, then you're wasting all the efforts that they put in to even get you here.
which I
And I
love that
think,
outlet too.
yeah, and I think that's where that pressure comes from. It's like, hey, listen, like we put in this work and this energy to get you here, right? And these are the expectations that we have, and we're not going to allow for you to fail. We're going to do everything in our power in order to make our kids more successful than we are. And that mindset, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a really good mindset. I just think that sometimes the way they went about it wasn't always the best. Did it produce some amazing kids? In my opinion, yes. I think I came out pretty good. Did my siblings come out the same way as me? Not necessarily, right? And so you can kind of see the differences and even in one household of what, these like really harsh parenting can do to kids, right? My brother, or I guess in my brothers really kind of rebelled. You know what I mean? They're both pretty smart kids, but they just
Mhm.
rebelled, against the strict, household and all of these things, and went down slightly different paths. I'm not going to say that they're not successful. I'm not going to say that they're super successful, but I'm just going to say they went down different paths, right? But again, I understand why immigrant parents or certain immigrant parents act the way they do. It's because again, the opportunity to come to the United States, they don't want to waste it, and they want their kids to be highly successful because of the sacrifices that they made. And so they're putting in that energy and that effort to make it happen. So
Yeah, is there a moment where you said my kids will never experience this from me?
100%, man. Yeah, you're bringing back memories of stuff that happened. I think at one point I even told my dad, I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be the opposite of everything that you are. And I know I said it out of spite. I was a teenager, you know what I mean? I was coming into my own at the time. Again, me growing up in this country and just understanding the dynamics of what it means to be in high school, what it means to be in elementary school, what it means to be in middle school, how, what that looks like, and seeing how my father was, I just told myself, like, listen, like, I have a different understanding than you do, right? His whole understanding was what he experienced in Nigeria. My understanding is what I've experienced in the States, right? And so there was constant battles between the both of us, like, hey, listen, I understand where you are and what you want, but it doesn't have to look like this, right? And my father was one of those, like, do as I say, not as I do type of person, right?
Mm.
He wasn't necessarily always the example, but he was always like, I need, just do this, do this, do this. He wouldn't do things with us, he would just tell us to do it. And that's where I'm different. And I remember telling my dad, I said, I'm never going to be like you. I'm going to be totally different. And, now that I really look back at it, there are some similarities that I think I've taken from him, but there are definitely a ton of differences. And one of those being the fact that, I'm definitely more lenient, and I'm definitely more understanding of the environment that my kids are growing up under, right? And it's not Nigeria. It's totally different. You can't really just chastise kids. You can't beat kids. You can't do the things that you're able to do back in the day. It's a totally different environment these days. And so yeah, so it's different. I'm a totally different person than him.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you still have a good? Do you have a pretty solid relationship with your dad right now?
I wouldn't say that we
Your
have a
parents?
solid relationship. I think there are some with I have a really good relationship with my mom. Um, my dad is hit or miss with him. I think my dad struggles with being able to effectively communicate. And so because of the ineffective communication between the both of us, we don't talk as much. You know what I mean? And so it's just different. Like it's hard to really, talk to him because he still harbors a lot of the same ideologies, right? And
Mm,
so trying
yeah,
to talk him out of that, he's just set in his ways. And
it
so
ain't happening.
it's yeah, so it's tough. So we can't really have a lot of conversations because he's set in his ways and I'm evolving and I'm changing. Um, but our relationship is very, like, we'll talk here and there, but it's never anything. It's really surface level conversation as opposed to deep stuff. So, but my mom, I love my mom to death. I actually was just on a call with her right before I got on here. But we talk, pretty consistently, almost daily, actually. But she was the opposite of my dad. My mom was very, very loving, very, very caring. Whenever we would get in trouble, my father would discipline us. My mom would be right there to kind of bring us up again. And, it's okay. And to, nurture us and stuff like that. So she was always like the anti dad, but it worked out. Their dynamic worked out. So that's why I'm closer to my mom than I am to my dad right now.
Yeah. Word. So when did you find out that you're gonna become a parent? How old were you?
That's a good question. Now, I got to think back. I was definitely in my
Hmm.
30s. I think I was 31 when I found out that I was going to have a daughter. And you know,
Were you
I don't think
married at the time? In a
I
relationship?
I wasn't in a relationship. I wasn't married. And what's interesting about that time is I was in a relationship, but it was a very rocky relationship, and we were all actually on the way out of the relationship when we found out that we were
Hmm.
pregnant.
Tough.
And that was a tough time for me. I'll be honest with you. It was a really rocky time because, you know, there was a lot of things that was kind of going through my head, like, should we stay together? Should we not? Deep down, I knew that it wasn't going to work personally because our mindsets and our dynamics of who we were growing to be, were just vastly different at this time. However, when bringing a child into this world, you kind of rethink certain things, and it just we both kind of knew it wasn't going to work. And so when my daughter came into this world, when Layla came into this world, it was one of those things where we immediately started co-parenting and really just doing our best to make it work and trying to stay amicable. But yeah, I just remember that time it was pretty rough. It was just trying to figure out a lot of things. Becoming a new dad, breaking up a relationship that I think I was in for 8 years. It was a pretty
Ooh.
long relationship. It was back and forth with a lot of things happening. Um, but it was definitely a blessing that my daughter came into my life because she changed me in ways that, it's hard to even describe. So, but I love it
Yeah, definitely. A kid will trans make you change everything about you instantly. And it doesn't
for
really
sure.
happen while the pregnancy happens. It happens
Yeah.
immediately when the child arrives. And then you're
I'm
like, oh, this is real.
I'm so glad you said that. That's exactly, I think we all go through that same thing, right? It's like until the child is here, it doesn't hit us. I think obviously with the mom it hits them right away because, they're growing a human inside of them, so they're connected to the child almost right away. And then for us as dads, it's like, our connection grows once the child is here, right? Now we're able to actually, interact with the child and things like that. And so it didn't become real for me until I remember I held Layla in my arms. And I remember this day vividly. It was kind of crazy because she was delivered via C-section.
Hmm.
And, we went into that back room. And I remember they had Layla's mom on the bed, and then they had like this like curtain that was kind of covering her. And I'm tall enough where I could see over the curtain, right? And so they're cutting her open and everything, and I'm actually watching this thing happen. And I see them like go in and pull Layla out. And when they pulled her out, they cleaned her up. She's crying and things like that. And they wrap her up and they hand her to me. So I'm literally like the first person to hold her. And so I'm holding her, and they told me, I can take her to the room, you know, uh, whatever room we were in or whatever. And I remember I walked down the hallway and I was holding her in my arms and I was just crying. I was just bawling because everything just hit me all at once. It's like, oh, this is actually real. And Layla's crying in my arms, and I'm just crying. I'm trying to call my mom because everything is just like emotionally just hitting me all at the same time. But yeah, that was definitely an emotional time for me. I remember.
Yeah, I think yeah, the first time when Cypress came out and the doctor put him on me, I don't think I breathed. I think I had to tell myself to breathe. I was just like holding my breath, not knowing what to do, just like,
Yeah,
oh man, I'm responsible for this human being pretty much for life. Like it's not
forever. Yeah,
well, that's what I learned. It's for life because I'll still go to my dad and get advice, and that's one thing he always told me is like, I'll always be your dad, and my mom
yeah,
said she'll always be my mom, and that annoyed me as a young adult, but once you have a kid, you're like, yeah, I get it, I
yeah,
get it, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Um, how did becoming a father challenge the identity you built within yourself?
How did it challenge the identity I built within myself? I mean, that's a
Yeah,
really good question. I think it's hard to I gotta kind of dissect it a little bit. Um,
dissect it, chop it up.
yeah. So how did it so a lot of things kind of like change for me, right? Because I think you start to realize in that moment that I well for me I realize I'm no longer living for myself. Because up until that point you're kind of like solo. Even in a relationship, in a way you're kind of like solo, right? You realize that relationships potentially end, things like that, whatever. But a child, right? Like no matter what the child does, the child can say whatever, do whatever. At the end of the day, this is still your child, right? And so I think for me, it was just like just like you mentioned, it's like, man, this is my child forever. And so I'm no longer living for myself. I'm living for her, and even my future children, right? And so the things that I would do personally that I felt were like reckless, I immediately stopped, right? So certain things like drinking too much or like, just doing things that, like that was selfish to me. I started realizing that I can't do that anymore. Like I have somebody that's counting on me forever, not only to, provide and be there for them, but they're counting on me to be at my best too. And so for me, like the whole world shifted from, you know, selfish Reef to now, all right, listen, this is now, I can no longer be selfish. I have somebody that's dependent on me forever, for sure,
Yeah, forever. Oh,
forever.
yeah, you definitely got to change everything in your life. And I like how you brought up drinking. Because yeah, I'm 400 plus days clean of alcohol. I
Oh
just
man,
decided because I was a
congrats.
light drinker, just mostly mezcal. Oh,
Yeah,
thank you. Definitely hard, bro. Like,
yeah,
quitting two in my 20s was pretty simple. Anything that I needed to quit, it was just super easy. For some
yeah,
reason, alcohol being norm to parties, functions, baby showers, everything. It's like, oh, you
yeah,
can drink. And so it took a little bit of, although actually not a little, a lot of discipline.
for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, I'm not sure. Do you still have a beverage here and there?
So I drink, but I mean, between me and my wife, like we barely drinkers. Probably we're very social drinkers per se.
Yeah.
Um, every time we throw a get together at a house, for some reason everybody brings alcohol for some
Oh yeah.
reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we will literally have the alcohol sitting there for 2, 3 years, like not
Bro,
touch it. You know,
all the alcohol here is not ours. Yeah.
and it'll just sit there. I've even had to gift people alcohol back. I'm like, because we're not touching it, we're not drinking it at all. But yeah, we're occasional drinkers. We just, whenever we're maybe out or something like that, we'll have maybe a couple drinks here and there, but it's never. I rarely do we ever drink in the house. It's never like, oh, let's have a drink, to get the edge off. Nah, we don't really do that. In fact, we don't even think about drinking in any type of way.
Yeah.
But occasionally on when we go out, yeah, we'll have a drink, but nothing ever in the house per se.
You de- you definitely feel it in your 40s. Just one. That's what happened to me because
Oh man,
we didn't drink anything besides mezcal, neat, straight up. And yeah, just Sunday morning I woke up after one, and after one night and one drink, and I'm like, I'm good. I think I'm good. So,
yeah, you just
and
you just don't feel
I'll
good,
get
man.
back.
Like it's you start to realize like why am I even having this? Like you wake up the next morning, you got a slight hangover, it dehydrates you. Like I remember thinking to myself, why did I ever like this? Like it just, what I mean? It doesn't really do anything for you. There's no nutritional value in drinking. There's just no benefits. And in fact, especially being a fitness professional now, right? When you drink, your whole body essentially kind of shuts down until it
You
rids your
shock the
body of
shit out of your
alcohol.
body.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, well, I'm not putting my body through this hell, um, you know, just for no reason. Like again, like I said, we only drink occasionally, like birthdays or something like that. We drink on her birthday, and I don't. My birthday was this Monday. I had no desire to really drink, but it's like special occasions here and there. And even when that
Yeah.
happens, it's like, man, why did I do that again? Like it's
Yeah.
one of those things. So yeah,
$20 a cocktail nowadays. No, the one
yeah,
last thing on the drinking. I'm actually scared to try to drink because I don't know how my body's going to react
yeah,
being clean of 400 plus days. I don't want to experience it. I feel like I'm going to take a sip and just start feeling anxiety and start sweating.
yeah,
So
yeah,
just the thought of what it could do to me terrifies me to not even try it again.
yeah.
Um,
Now you're a smart man. You don't need it. It's
yeah, no,
not it's not a necessity. It doesn't do anything for you. There's no great nutritional value. Like it really was kind of like this social thing. It's one of again, I think most people drink because and I'll say it like this. I think most people get into drinking because it's a social thing. Like your friends are doing it and you just want to be a part of your friends. and what they're doing and stuff like that. At least that's how I got involved too, with drinking. But
Oh yeah.
after a while, you just as you get older, you kind of wise up and you're like, now your friends could be drinking and you're like, I'm good. I don't really want any of that stuff. So, um, things just shift for you as you get older, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm pretty excited because Cypress is never going. I don't think he's ever going to see me have a drink, you know.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
was too young when he saw me, but now him probably never see me do it. That might
yeah,
break a generational thing that was in the family. So
yeah,
let's
yeah.
get to co-parenting, man. 'Cause I'm a single, well, not a single dad right now, but my son and my ex, I had my son with my ex, and
Mhm.
co-parenting ain't easy, especially yeah, it's not easy. So I have custody of my son.
Yeah,
Um, and that definitely makes a woman feel a certain way, to where I think, um, the child could be used against the other parent, which just causes, anxiety for that child. How
yeah,
was your co-parenting going? Was it rough at the beginning? Did it take a lot of time to smooth out? What kind of
yeah.
conversations did you guys, what advice would you give to a dad that's about to become a co-parent?
Yeah, I think so I'll speak on my experience first and foremost. I think so co-parenting in the beginning was hard, and it was hard for the reasons of she wanted us to work and I already knew that it wasn't. And so she kind of held that against me in a way where it's like, okay, listen, like you're not trying to make this work, then I'm gonna create some drama within, you know. And there was a lot of drama in the beginning. But what I'll say is this, and I respect her for this because there's a part of her that realizes and I'll say it like this. So my ex lost her father at a pretty young age. I think she was like 10 or 11, right? When she
Mm,
lost her father. And she lost her
tough.
father due to cancer. Like she watched this big, strong military guy literally wither away into like nothing, right? And
Mm,
she, hospice and everything, she watched it. And that trauma that she faced has led her to always kind of have the mindset of, you know, I always want, my child to have a father in their life, right? So she wasn't going to like not allow for me to be present in her life. And so because of that and that mindset, it made it work for us, right? And so although we would argue or we would have, disagreements and things like that, I mean, there were times where she would just put Layla on FaceTime, and I'm talking about Layla's probably like not even one yet, right? She'll put her on FaceTime and just walk out the room and just let her have her time with me, which I respected, right? Man, because it could have easily been something totally different. And so I
yeah.
respect her for that, right? And so I was always still able to have a relationship with my daughter. And in fact, we would split weekends and stuff like that. One weekend my daughter would be with her, one weekend she would be with me, and that worked for us. And to this day, it still works. But that rocky part in the beginning, it was it was hell. And to any dad that's going through it or about to go through it or whatever it is, just know that time passes and things do get better for the most part. Um, the one thing I'll say, and maybe this is different for everybody. I think for me, what I did that helped the situation was I think I was clear that no matter what I did, and kudos to you because you being able to get custody, that's very rare. You know what I mean? And in our and that like amongst dads and it's super rare because the system, the way it's designed, is designed for the moms to win in in all aspects of it. Like the mom has to
Absolutely.
really like really mess up or just really just, hey, you know what, I don't want, this for dad to even have an opportunity to win, right? And so
Oh
for
yeah.
me, what I did was I literally had to relinquish and understand that I can't fight this, right? And I can't, at least I can't fight it in a way that I can't fight it stubbornly. Like I can't just, this is what we're doing, this is how it's going to be. You have to compromise in so many ways, right? You have to understand that, the woman in this space is always going to have the leg up, but there's things that you can do, right? Doing your best to be amicable in the situations, doing your best to, again, like just try to smooth things over. And it's hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's like it's hard putting a smile on your face and acting like everything is cool when you know it's not. Deep down inside, you want to like you want to burn down the world for your daughter or your kid, but just understand that at the end of the day, right? And this is why, how I look at my daughter too. At the end of the day, kids are smart. They pick up on things over time. And my daughter, I think what was going to happen, or what I believe is going to happen, my daughter is starting to see the dynamic between mom and dad, right? She understands a little bit more now that mom is kind of like the emotional one, and then dad is kind of like the logical one. And so I'm watching as who she gets advice from,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And what places that she leans towards. And had I been that dad that like fought mom on everything, I don't think that would have ever transpired, right? I think because I'm more level-headed and I'm moving a certain
Nope.
way,
Not at all.
my d- my daughter is like, okay, I'm watching dad. Okay, he's more level-headed. Okay, he's this. Okay, he's not fighting mom. He's not emotionally driven. Mom is all over the place. I need to go to dad for this, right? And kids are smart. Like I said,
Yeah.
kids are smart. They'll figure it out. They'll watch and they'll see what's happening. Um, and they'll choose wisely as they get older. Is what I envision or what I see. So that's the advice I'll give to any person that's in the same boat. Don't fight it. Let it play its course, but always be the level-headed one because at some point the kids are going to see that and they're going to gravitate towards you or gravitate towards the parent that they feel is going to, be that person that's going to help guide them in the direction that they want to be guided. For sure.
Yeah. It requires swallowing your pride
Woo!
a lot, a
A lot.
lot, and it don't respond immediately to any text messages, emails. Sit on it. Do not
Oh
reply because
man.
that I you I'll be yeah. I loved how you said women are emotional, men are logical. I say that all the time, and it pisses women off knowing that they're
It
emotional.
does. Hmm.
But I'll get asked questions, within the family, and I won't have an answer right away because I'll sit and think about it.
For
I have
sure.
an answer, but I'm like, is that the answer I want to give, or is that the response I want to give? And half the
Exactly.
90% of the time, if I respond right away, it's a terrible response, and it
It's
starts
an
the
emotional
argument. So
response.
yeah, so let me think about.
It's that first emotional response where you're like, I just want to say this, and then you think about it, you backtrack, and you realize that if you had sent that text, that emotional text, all it's going to create is rapid fire back and forth, and it's going to lead to nowhere, right?
Yeah,
And so, just like you mentioned, I would sit on the text for a little bit, just kind of breathe and just kind of think about it for a second, um, get level headed, and then I respond. And every
yeah,
time I do that, things go things go well.
yeah,
Anytime that I
yeah,
respond right away, it's a whole different ball game. And so I've learned my
yeah,
lessons. Just take some time, gather your thoughts before you really want to respond to anything. So,
yeah. And I'm not trying to beat up any mothers with co-parenting,
right,
but um, I tell guys. When they're trying to get under your skin, when they're trying to dig and try to get you to respond and then take that to court and use that against you. So every time, respond as kind as you can. because they want you to be mad. But when you respond kindly and then end it with a thank you, oh, that will put them over the edge. So never respond nasty, always respond kindly. Even if you disagree, respond with a kind disagreement, and that just makes them fucking flip.
I wish more guys would take heed to that advice, because that'll
Oh,
solve so many issues, man. Because it is hard. And we're not going to sit here and act like it's easy. It isn't. It isn't easy to
no.
swallow your pride and to just like smile when you want to, you know what I mean? It's not easy, but we do it out of, you want peace in your household. You want peace. I mean, and granted, obviously I'm in a different household now, right? You want peace even in the household that you're in, right? Because if you're
Yeah,
walking around pissed off because of this, a text or situation that happened, there's no peace in either household, right? And so, yeah, it's
especially
tough.
from
It
your
is
end.
tough.
Because when you
Exactly.
that because so Lena, wonderful bonus mom's been in Cypress's life since the age of 2. So he calls her mom too, which really irritates real mom. But
Yeah.
Cypress looks at Lena as mom.
Yeah.
Um and where's it going with this?
She looks at her as mom too.
Yeah. Anyways, I totally lost space on it, but
It'll come back to you.
yeah, I'll come back. Man, yeah, we can go down this rabbit hole of co-parenting, but oh, you can't allow your ex to bring her energy into your home.
Right.
That's unfair for your new wife,
There you
because
go.
she already came to you and said, okay, I'm going to be with this man. He has this child. And I don't like to call it baggage, but he has this history. And this
Right.
history is going to be with him for life. That
Right.
means it's with me for life. And so
Right.
anytime you're actually trying to bring energy or like resentment into your home, you just got to block that shit so quickly. So, yeah,
So
you
fast.
you yeah. I mean, I imagine we don't got to go down that, but I imagine you guys had to deal with stuff like that.
Big
But
time.
yeah, yeah. So, 11-year-old, and you have a 2-year-old and one on the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 2-year-old, your boy.
Oh, that's my boy. That's my boy.
That's your boy.
Oh man, like that kid he's so smart. He is so loving. He is
Your boy
so
makes you feel like you're in your 20s still.
yeah, he does. I mean, he's challenging me in different ways
Yeah.
than my daughter did. Um, but I'm just so excited, to be with him, man. Like he carries my name, so he's a junior, and like I just watch him and his level of understanding at such a young age at 2 is out of this world. And on top of that, like he's such a charismatic kid. He loves women, he loves girls. He's very like he pays attention to his surroundings. He just like I tell my wife sometimes I say like he's been here before, just the way he is, right? But I was so excited to knowing that I have and I was having a boy, and I'm even more excited that I'm having another boy too, So one of my dreams, and I told my wife this too, is that like I wanted the second boy because I wanted, obviously I grew up playing a ton of sports and things like that, and I've always been, athletic and active and things, and I just want to be that dad that like is able to be not only just be present, but I want to be able to like raise my sons into pro athletes, whatever sport that they want to go into, but I want them to be pro athletes because and of course I want them to be worldly citizens and smart and all those things as well. And obviously we're working towards all of those things, but I needed that second boy so that I can put them against each other. So it's kind of like that, Venus and Serena, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
putting them against each other to kind of like, bring the best out of them. But yo, I'm super excited for, you know, being able to have two boys in the household now and really be able to just kind of raise them and just, just and be this boy dad where I just, um, it just puts a smile on my face. Like I just love the opportunity that I get now, being able to raise two boys, and obviously with my girl and everything too, but raise these two boys into adulthood and manhood and things like that. So yeah,
Yeah, you got two roles now. You're when you're a girl dad, you're setting the standard for what you want her to potentially marry one day. She's
exactly.
gonna be meeting boys eventually, and she's gonna be looking at him like, I can't bring you home.
Right,
Do you know who my dad is? And I love that.
right, right.
Um, because they know there's a standard, and they've lived that standard, and they've seen how you treat your wife, treat your
Exactly.
family, and they don't want nothing less. Because they don't want to go backwards. And then raising boys, and you're trying to raise a boy to be a good model citizen for, you know, the world. So
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Uh, what challenges do you have? How close is your wife to due date?
So due date is September, like early September. So we're only like what, like 3 months? 3 months. We're in the
Yeah,
third trimester now. So yeah, it's coming up pretty
Virgo.
soon. Like
All right.
is I think it was what, like 10 weeks. Dang, 10 weeks. 12. Oh,
So we'll
she's
be
in the background. 12 weeks.
yeah. Would it be two under two?
Two under two. Yeah.
Two under two, man.
Two
Ooh,
under two
two boys under two.
or two under three, I guess, because they're my son is two now, so he just turned two. But yeah, they're gonna be about
Yeah, that's teen.
2.5 years, 2.5 years apart. Yeah, two
That's
under two or
awesome.
two under
Yeah.
three, whatever. Yeah, but and I hope that they have a really strong relationship. There's no doubt in my mind that I think they're gonna be really close to each other. Especially knowing how RJ is my 2 year old. He's like the way he is, and even how he interacts with his sister. Oh my God, they are inseparable. Like that was one of the things that I was kind of fearing, being a dad again. Obviously, having my boy, I wasn't sure how Layla was going to take it. You know, because Layla had been obviously the only child for like 9 years prior to RJ being born, and there was a fear that I thought that she was going to feel a certain type of way, and that fear is still kind of still in the back of my head, but their interactions with each other kind of shows me that they love each other and they're not in competition with each other. They truly genuinely, like when they see each other, it's like magic. She's so excited to see her baby brother, and then RJ asks for his sister all the time. His sister doesn't live in the household with us, but whenever she's here, she'd be here this weekend. He's like so excited to see her, and then he even cries whenever she has to leave. It does kind of break my heart from time to time
That's
when they have to
tough. Yeah.
separate. Yeah, but but they're inseparable. Like he loves FaceTiming her. Sometimes he'll reach out to me and say, "Hey, you want to FaceTime his sister?" But they're like this, and so that makes my heart happy, and so I'm sure with the new kid coming in, the new boy, it's going to be a lot of the same things too. um
Yeah.
it's just going to be even more love in the household for sure.
Yeah, I definitely know the separation gap. Zeta's 19, Cypress is 7. She's at University
Yeah.
of Hawaii. She's honestly she's my stepdaughter from my past
Okay.
relationship, but she doesn't have a relationship with her mother anymore.
Got it.
But she looked at me as a dad when it came into her life, and me and her dad are super close. So
Yeah.
we made it very clear that we're going to keep these kids together. So Cypress has
Love
a
it.
relationship with his mom. His sister doesn't. So now he's getting older. He's asking questions like, Zeta, why don't you ever want to see mom? And I'm just like, Zeta's an adult now. So you can tell him
Yeah.
what she wants to tell him.
Right.
And I'll monitor some of this stuff until he gets older. But yeah, you know, I love seeing them together because it's just, she always calling him a little punk. just they're always wrestling. But yeah, your
Yeah.
boys are definitely going to be, they're definitely probably going to love each other, but they're definitely going to be throwing punches too.
Oh, there's they're gonna be button heads for sure. Oh, for
Oh yeah,
sure. There's no doubt in my
yeah,
mind that's gonna happen. And
yeah.
I'm excited to see what the young boy is gonna look like and what he's gonna do. I just yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. We don't know what he's gonna look like. We don't know how his temperament, what it's gonna be like. But one thing that we're kind of confident in is that like he's going to be advanced in his learning just because of his brother. You know,
Oh,
his brother is
absolutely.
he's very advanced. I mean, and the thing is too, and this is something that we've kind of come to a realization because when people come up to us and they're like, "Man, how's RJ so advanced? Like he knows his, number. He can count all the way to 20. Like he knows his ABCs. This kid does a hundred a hundred piece puzzles. Like you understand at 2 years old, a
Yeah,
100-piece puzzles. Like he does it obviously with our help, but even without our help, he's like he knows the pieces and he knows how to figure it out and put it all together. And the thing that we've come to realize is that like the reason a big part of why he's so advanced is because he's being raised by adults, as opposed to when a lot of kids, or at least kids in households where there's multiple kids, a lot of times they're being influenced and raised by each other, right?
yeah,
But RJ's had, you know, us two. He's not really in any type of daycare or anything like that. So there's not a lot of outside influences. And so his vocabulary is our vocabulary. You know, the things that he
yeah.
does, the things that he eats is what we eat. Even at an early age, like he was never like a bottle baby. He never wanted the bottle. It was shocking. He never wanted the bottle. We literally went from breast milk to like eating solids, and he's been eating solids ever since. And so his like
Nice.
advancement has been so fast. And so so we understand that is because we're the ones that's raising him, right? And so that is easily going to transfer over to his baby brother when his baby brother comes because his learning, what he's doing, his baby brother is just going to soak it all up just like he is. And of course, again, they're being raised by us, no outside influences. We're not taking them to daycare. We're not doing all those things. All of our businesses, the things that we do, RJ's with us like almost 100% of the time, and so he sees everything, he's part of everything, he's emulating everything that we do, and we love it. We see it, we're just watching as he's just developing and developing so fast with just by being around us and just, following all of our steps and things that we're doing. So we love it.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely agree. Being raised by adults, Cypress is very similar. He
Yeah,
does. We're very help Sundays meal preps. Go to the butcher, meal prep, get ready
yeah,
for Sunday. He has chores. Um, yeah, there's a lot of structure within our household, and we talk to him like an adult. We don't goo
yeah,
goo and
that's it.
gaga,
That's
all
it.
that talk.
Yeah.
There's a time and place, where I'm a little softer, and he obviously crawls into bed and wants to cuddle and stuff, because he need to give that, affection that way as well. But like
Absolutely.
today, he had field day and fun run, so they run around the track for 30 minutes. And last year, and the kindergartner, he got around 7 times, and he's like, "Dad, I need to wear my running shoes today." I'm like, "All right, cool." And you got to come watch me. So I went, and he got nine. He got nine. So 2.25 miles in 30 minutes. But he's just,
Nice.
structured that way. Like, when you do something, you get it done. Taekwondo Tuesday, Thursdays, Kid
Yeah.
Strong Mondays, which is like a kids gym, tire
Yeah.
flipping, push-ups, and then soccer pretty much all year round.
Yeah.
And yeah, we hold them accountable. Bedtime 7:30, 8, non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Um, we don't watch TV at dinner except right now because NBA finals are on, so I'm getting a pass. So, so
I
but
love
yeah, he
that.
calls me.
Yeah.
But he calls me out. He's like, "You're not supposed to be watching TV right now, Dad." I'm like, "It's NBA finals. mom's allowing me to do this right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we eat unhealthy, he calls me out because I have a sweet tooth. It's like that's
Yeah.
sugar, Dad. I'm like, oh, but you know, but yeah,
I love that.
he parents are like, how does he eat vegetables? Because he sees his fucking parents eating vegetables. He sees
That's
his
it.
parents, eating, chicken, steak, and mind you, he eats good, like ribeyes. Like no, not a lot of kids eat the way he eats. But
Yeah.
yeah, when RJ, you said,
Yeah, RJ. Yeah.
yeah, when he's seeing you guys, eating good, working, grinding, he doesn't know anything else. So when he goes to
Exactly.
another, yeah, when he goes to another household for like the first time and they're having like pizza, they're like, I don't know what the hell this is.
Exactly.
One of the soccer games, a parent brought. I coach a soccer team. A parent brought the snacks for afterwards, and one of the snacks was Gatorade. He's never
Mhm.
had a Gatorade. He's 6 years
Oh,
old.
okay.
So he
Yeah.
looked at me. I'm like, bro, you can have it. Try it. So I opened it, took a sip, gave it back to me. Like, you like it? He's like, yeah, I like it. And he's lying.
Yeah, he
And
doesn't
then
really
he
like
didn't
it.
finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So like, there's certain things like that was the first time he had a Gatorade. He's never had soda. He drinks a lot of water. We have a Kagan water. We have a
Yes,
water filtration.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
have that on the house. So 9.5, 9.0,
Yeah.
he, water every morning. So yeah, kudos to you because yeah, that goes a long ways. And it's sad that I don't like to say intimidates other families,
Yeah.
because they see like, how do you do it? He doesn't have an iPad either. Lena's in
Nice.
technology. We learned right
Nice.
away. We don't want an iPad, baby. He just got
Yeah.
a Nintendo Switch for Christmas last year, but it's monitored 30 minutes a week. So parents are
Nice.
like, how do you do it? It's just like you are the parent. They don't
100%.
parent. Yeah, just because they want the iPad doesn't mean you got to give them the fucking iPad. You know,
Exactly.
rip the
Yeah.
band, rip,
Preach. Preach.
rip the band-aid. Yeah,
Yeah.
rip the band-aid. Go through the temper tantrum. In a month, they're going to forget about it and figure out Legos are a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how my daughter doesn't even like fast food. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's been times where because we're out and we're tired and we just don't have a lot of time to get home and cook and do those things that we went to places where we try to get fast food and she would refuse it every single time. Like I don't want it, you know. She drinks her water. RJ's the same way. He's just, he drinks his water, occasionally he'll have like something sweet with us or something like that. But this kid, he talks about eating chicken and rice. He's like, he was like, what do you want? He's on chicken and rice, chicken and rice. I'm like, that's what he knows is chicken and rice. And it's not that we do eat chicken and rice quite a bit, but it's kind of like
Oh
something
yeah.
that's kind of stuck with him, right? He eats his chicken and rice every morning. He has his oatmeal every single morning. Oatmeal, we put a little bit of peanut butter in there for him. We also put like a little bit of we put like the Herbalife Formula One shake, which is
Hmm.
like packed with protein and vitamins and minerals. So we put all that together in his oatmeal and he loves it and he eats it every single morning. And if it's not oatmeal, he's eating toast with a little bit of butter on it or something like that, and he's drinking his water. This is his
Yeah.
routine, and it is very, very consistent. And he does it every single day. Like he wakes up in the morning and he's like, he calls for us, from his room. We pick him up, we give him a little bit of time to kind of decompress, play around with him, and then within 5, 10 minutes, he's like, I want oatmeal, I want toast or whatever. And we go downstairs and we make it. And it's like, and he makes it with us, like it's not even like we make it for him. He literally wants to be in the mix. Like he gets so pissed off if he's not the one that takes the oats from inside of the container and pours it into his bowl. He gets so pissed off. If I do it, he's like pissed. He's like basically put it back so he can do it.
He's
But
independent.
he's
Yeah.
very independent, very
It's good.
independent.
That's
So, yeah, he's such a good kid, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good parents expect their kids to be functioning mentally, feeding them all this fucking crap. It's just like your kid ain't gonna function. Cypress has never had cereal either. He's never
Wow.
had cereal
Wow, nice.
ever. So
Nice.
So I've been trying. I've been like, hey, you want to get some healthy cereal? And he's like, nah, I'm good.
Uh,
Because every morning it's eggs, there's like healthy protein pancakes and chicken sausage or bacon from the butcher. So it's the same thing every
he's
morning.
consistent.
Yeah,
Consistent.
and we're
Yeah,
consistent. That's what we're eating, you know.
exactly.
But yeah, like parents are lazy. I'll say it. I don't get it. And it's sad because, you know, you just because you look a certain way doesn't mean your child has to follow suit. And, you know, you're already setting them up for disaster, you know.
Well, I
Um,
think just like anything else, it's all learned behaviors that's just being passed down from generation to generation. And if you're not cognizant of it, then you're just gonna fall into the same traps and stuff. And I'm not gonna say that my house, well, I guess growing up in my household we ate a lot more like, Nigerian food. And our food is really heavy in starches, but also heavy in lean meats. Because I didn't eat beef until I was like maybe like 16 years old. Like we grew up eating a lot of goat and a lot of lamb.
yeah,
Um,
okay.
and
Yeah.
so which are leaner cuts of meat, and that's what we ate. And we ate a lot of rice, we ate a lot of what we call fufu and things like that. But if you look at
Uh,
our diet, right, the Nigerian diet, it's very, and in many cases is very, very lean. So some people, so I've had to explain this to people. Sometimes they're like, how are you so lean, or how did you get so much muscle? And I always explain, like, honestly, it's the diet, that I've come accustomed to, right? And again, so that's what we ate growing up. As an adult now, I don't eat a lot of Nigerian food. I eat it occasionally here and there. And it's not because I don't like the food. It's just that I just don't prepare it as often. My wife isn't Nigerian as well, so she's not preparing that for me. If I probably asked her to, she'd probably learn to do it, but it's just not something that I'm like, oh, I gotta have it anymore. Occasion, when I go to my mom's house, that's when, I'll eat the Nigerian food because she's always, asking me to eat that. But
yeah, get it from the queen, man.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, but I mean, I think ever since, really getting into the whole health and fitness lifestyle, it's been like, our diets has changed dramatically. We don't eat a lot of the junk food as much as possible, as much as we do. Don't get me wrong, we still eat the junk food. I'm not gonna, because if you saw me
Oh, you
on
got
social
to. You
media,
got to. Yeah.
yeah, if you saw me in the last like week on social media after my show, man, I went on a binge. I went on a binge. I was eating Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm eating all the cookies. But again, Michael,
Well
I'm eating all
deserved.
that stuff. Exactly. I'm eating all these things because I've deprived myself of it for so long.
Yeah.
And so to be honest with you, I ate so much of it on purpose. And this is just kind of like how I operate. I ate so much of it to make myself sick of it so I don't want it anymore. So I still have it in the house, but I just don't touch it anymore because I'm over it. So
Yeah.
the past 2 days I've just been going back to clean eating the things that I enjoy, that makes me feel good. And I haven't even touched any of that junk food anymore. And I probably won't
Yeah.
touch it again for another 3 months. And that's how I operate. And so yeah, RJ is literally following suit. I think he had a couple cookies with me because, Daddy's eating some cookies and stuff, and he's in his head, he's probably like, yo, this is different. You know what I mean? Like he's eating more cookies, and I'm like off. He's like, grabbing some of the cookies with me and things like that. But I think deep down he knows, like, oh, this is not normal. Let me take advantage of this right now while I can. But he hasn't had a cookie, since I stopped eating cookies as well. So he's back to his normal routine of just eating, oatmeal, chicken and rice, and all the stuff. And so it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that, man.
Yeah.
Um, today, kids are growing up in a completely different world than we did. What concerns
Yeah.
you the most? Social media, mental
I
health,
mean,
work ethic, instant
I mean,
gratification.
you've kind of touched on it a little bit already. Yeah, social media and just the access that a lot of these kids have. My daughter, and when I was you were smarter than me, and realize the dangers of technologies early. I didn't. So my daughter, I think I was what 31, like I said, when I had her. Um, and I think at that time, social media was still kind of like young and fresh, you know what I mean?
That's very
And
fresh. Yeah.
yeah, and then also even with like technologies like the iPads and stuff, iPhones and stuff like that they were around, but I just nobody I didn't know about the dangers of it. And so I did introduce my daughter to an iPad and iPhone early. And so she's big on these Roblox and all these things. And that is what I fear now is like, that access that she has, which we already learned our lesson from, like RJ is not going to have that same type of access.
Yeah.
Um, but it's that social media, access to, YouTube, access to just so much stuff. Somebody said this to me the other day that really hit home. And they were saying how, like, in this day and age, right, we see more images of what's happening in the world within a minute than most of us saw in months, growing up.
Yes.
And that hit home for me. And I was like, you know what? That is so true. Because you can literally scroll and see everything that's happening in the world, good and bad, within minutes, you know, and and depending on who you are and how you are, whether you absorb that information or you repel the information or you're affected by it, right? It definitely it potentially can definitely change you. And so that's what I think that's one of my biggest fears right now is just like, getting social media under control. And so I'm working on it with my daughter right now. Um, but I can see her, she's kind of addicted to certain things. Like Roblox is her thing. We've gotten into a couple fights over it, like removing it from the house, took away her iPad, her iPhone. She has she has like every technology. Like she has an iPhone, she has an iPad, she has a computer, and she even has a camera that she takes pictures with and stuff like that. And so I took all of those things away from her. I felt bad, but it's like I'm trying to now be that parent that's kind of like draw it all back. And I wish I was more like you and I understood the dangers early because I would have never introduced her to iPads and all the other stuff. But hey, you learn your lessons and sure, RJ, no iPad, no iPhone. Aiden, when he comes, no, same thing for him. So, but I still got to deal with this whole, you know, getting her to get off of, get away from her addiction. I don't want to call it addiction, but it's like a strong like for
Yeah.
Roblox and social media and all of these things. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I tell parents, they're like, I'm always tired, and they just want to give the kid a screen. It's like, okay, you can be tired and you can still go kick a ball, throw a ball, ride a bike,
yeah,
or you can be tired and give them an iPad.
yeah,
What sounds better to you?
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
what's more present? What are they going to
yeah,
remember? They're not going to
right,
remember that YouTube show that they're watching. They're going to remember you going out and kicking the ball, learning to ride the bike. So you can be
right,
tired. We're all fucking tired. So,
right, right,
that's no excuse.
right.
So, but yeah, no,
Yeah,
good luck with your daughter. I mean, it's work, but I mean, I think in the long run, if you approach it the right way, she's going to get older and she's going to be like, yeah, dad, I was tough on dad. And
yeah,
obviously, if you, yeah, keep it away from your boys as much as possible. We
yeah,
still, we go to the movies more. We watch movies at home too. But yeah, it's something we earn. That's what Cypress
right,
was saying. It's like screen time, I
right,
gotta earn it. If I want to watch my basketball, my football, my sports, we earn it. We still got
right.
to get our stuff done, and I think it's more he values it more because he earned it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah, yeah, no,
so
absolutely.
yeah,
100%.
and nowadays he doesn't like. Sometimes he just doesn't care to have it. He's just like, I'm good. You're like, all right,
Yeah,
he wants to build his trains or do whatever he does. So
yeah.
what what is what does an actual day look like for you from You wake up. Are you one of those? I'll be honest. I can't do the 5 a.m. workouts. I'm good with that. I'm done with those. Um, so some days like 5 a.m. I'm like, cool, man. That is you. I
Yeah,
appreciate you doing that. Today I worked out earlier just because I had one the meeting with you, Cypress's fun run. Couple I had to go to my construction zones and check on my guys. So I went earlier, but that's like 8.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
what's your day look like? How from morning to breaking bread
yeah,
with family?
yeah, for sure. No, I'm up at probably 4:30 in the morning every morning. Fortunate for us, like I have, a basement that has like a lot of the things that I need for cardio and for even, I have a sauna and things like that. So I typically first thing in the morning, I'm up, for the first hour or so, I don't really just jump onto the cardio machine. I kind of um I don't it's not journaling or anything like that. I just kind of get my mind ready. I'll make my tea in the morning and I'll drink my tea and just kind of
Gee,
like
okay.
yeah, and just get my mind ready. Anything that I'm thinking about for the day or whatever, I just kind of, I mentally kind of like decompress and just like, all right, this is what I need to get done for the day. So the first 35 minutes to an hour is me doing that.
Dad
And then
time.
once I, yeah,
Dad time.
exactly, that time.
Yeah.
And then
It's
I'll
quiet.
I'll go
Quiet for
downstairs.
you.
Exactly, super quiet. And then I'll go downstairs and then I hop on the treadmill. I put it at a high incline and I'll just walk. And again, I'm on YouTube, again, educating myself on certain aspects of business or whatever, anything. Or sometimes even just entertainment. I like to look at like other IFBB pros, men's physique guys, and just kind of again just learn what's happening in the market. And then I'll hop in the sauna for about 20, 30 minutes again, just sweat and kind of like recover from the day before. And then from there I'll go back upstairs and that's where my son typically is waking up. So now it's like, I'm playing with him, take a shower real quick, and then I'll come back downstairs and we'll make breakfast together, feed him his oatmeal, chill for a little bit. And then by noon, that's when, I'll switch with my wife because we call it a transformation center. It's a 3,000 square foot space where we do like we have a nutrition bar where we serve healthy shakes and energy drinks and things like that. And then we have a workout area in the back where we do like host like group fitness classes. So during the day, the bar is open, so she'll work the bar up until noon, and then I'll switch with her, and then I'll work it until 4. And then that evening, typically we host like the fitness classes at our facility. Depending on the day, it's either her running the classes, or me running the classes. We typically have 2 classes a day, 5:30 and 6:30. Again, really, really good classes. And then right after that, um, typically I'll then go to the gym. That's my gym time to kind of go train. And then I'll come back home and then, decompress again, drink some more tea, chill, relax, spend some time, with my wife. By this point, my son is already in bed, and then that's our evening. We'll spend the evening together. Me and my wife, our time together is typically spent like, us, just being in the bed together, watching, our favorite shows on Netflix or something like that, and we're falling asleep. We typically are asleep within 30 minutes to an hour anyway. Like it's not too
Ah,
long. And
absolutely,
then
man. Yeah.
yeah. She
The
gets on me
the
all the
us
time.
time is rare.
Yeah, she gets on me all the time because she's like, man, we keep rewatching the same episode and it's because of me. You know what I mean? I'm falling asleep right away. She might be up a little bit longer and she's seen it, and so we always have to rewind it for me to watch it over again. So it might take us a week to watch one episode or something like that. And so
I'm so happy you said that.
yeah.
I'm not number one. I'm so happy you said that.
And she gets pissed off at me every time, but hey, I mean, it is what it is. Occasionally, I'll try to like sneak in an episode so I could try to catch up with her during the day or some point, but it rarely happens because we're
It's
doing
never
so
gonna
much that, yeah, it rarely happens. And then that's my day, and that's my day Monday through Friday. The weekends we have a little bit more time to kind of like more family stuff and hang out and things like that. But almost every day, Monday through Fridays, is that's what it looks like for the most part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much what it looks like over here too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then yeah, by the time Friday comes, yeah, the weekend I just want to rest. I just want
Yeah.
to recover. Yeah, and like I briefly told you the other day, coming off this hernia surgery and just getting back in the gym, it's my body is, taking 2 months off. It was great because my muscles all like unwound, which felt
Yeah.
fantastic. But getting back in the gym, I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
getting back into flow because, at this age, when you're maintaining it, it's easy. But when you take that
Right.
break and have to get back into it, you don't want to do it. I don't want to walk through that door. It's like get
Yeah.
to the door, walk through, we're good.
Yeah.
So,
And that's exactly why too, because to be honest, Michael, I took like because after the show, I had a show this Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. What's today? Thursday. I didn't get back into my routine until yesterday, Wednesday. So up until that point, like I literally just taking, just sleeping in. I was taking breaks and all these things. And then by Wednesday, I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I need to get back into a routine. And that's when I just jumped back into the same routine. Now, mind you, again, like I was binging hard, like probably more than I should have, you know what I mean? And so I was feeling like shit. I wasn't feeling like myself. Um, and like you mentioned, like, once you get out of routine, maybe the first day or two it feels good, but after a while you're like, your body doesn't feel right, things don't feel right. You're just like, like why am I even torturing myself? Because that's what it felt like. It felt like I was torturing myself. I was enjoying the cookies, I was enjoying the food, I was enjoying the rest, but it still felt like torture. But these past 2 days I felt like myself again. Like I feel really good. My skin is already improving. I just feel like myself. Like I was bloated for a while. Now my stomach is coming back down. But it's just, that feeling where you're like, man, like this sucks. And so just getting back in a routine and just staying consistent again, it feels, I'm on top of the world again. I feel good.
awesome, man. Yeah, good for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, good for you on your competition too. So
Thank you. Thank you.
um
Yeah.
let's get into some entrepreneurship success. Do you have time? I know this is actually one of my
Absolutely.
longest. Okay, this is one of my
Yeah,
longest
yeah, yeah.
podcasts. I'm loving this. So let's get into some entrepreneurship success and family. So
Yeah.
you've built multiple successful businesses while raising a family.
Yeah.
I'm in that same boat. It's exhausting. It's not easy. It's not for everybody mentally. How do you balance ambition with being present?
Wow, that's tough. I think well, one, I gotta give kudos to my wife, man, because if it wasn't for her, this whole process would be so much harder. I think because we're on the same page with a lot of the things that we do and the direction that we're going as a family, it makes it so much easier, right? The things
Absolutely.
that the
Yeah.
things that I slack on or miss out on or whatever that, that are my weaknesses are her strengths and vice versa. And so we work well together in that regard. And so I just want to make sure that she gets that credit because it's not a solo thing. My success is our success, is because, the things that she's also doing in the
Yep.
in the background. But, I think with us being able to run our businesses around our kids, it makes it easier. I think sometimes when I think about, parents that work a 9 to 5, you can't bring your kids to your 9 to 5 job, more than likely. And so you when you're doing your 9 to 5, you're doing your 9 to 5, and then when you're off of your 9 to 5, that's when you have the family time. Ours is intermingled, you know. Like RJ's with us at the transformation center when we're doing the workouts. Occasionally, you'll see him kind of like, join in on the workout. He's 2 years old. He's on the mat doing like what is it called? Like downward dog and doing squats and stuff like that because he just wants to join in. Like and luckily for us, our community of people that join us for the workouts are very, very cool people. They don't take offense to it because I in my head I'm like, man, if I saw a kid here working out and stuff like that, I don't know how I feel, but they love it. You know, they love his presence and everything. He's a very amicable kid and stuff. So that helps out a lot. My wife and I were actually I don't know if you ever heard of Herbalife Nutrition before.
Yep.
It's yeah, it's an MLM. So we're actually in the top 1% of the company. So we're President's team members. We built an organization of over 4,000 distributors, and we mentor and guide to have success inside of the company. The reason why we have success is because we've been able to mentor a lot of them to have success. So that's one of our businesses. I mentioned the transformation center already. So the 3,000 square foot space where we obviously, serve shakes and energy drinks, and then we also host the workouts. But we also run a high ticket coaching business. And what you'll find, Michael, is everything that we do is all in the same like space in terms of like it's all around nutrition and fitness. So that and I think that's why it all works. Like Herbalife is nutrition products and things like that. The Transformation Center, nutrition products and fitness. And then our high ticket coaching business is same thing. We're teaching people how to eat better. We're guiding them and coaching them on eating better, working out better, all of these things in order to get the results that they're looking for. So almost everything kind of works and just ties into each other. And so it helps us balance it. And again, our kids are amongst us, right? There's several conversations I've had with Layla, and so Layla's obviously my 11-year-old daughter. Because of the dynamic that she has with her mom, she sees her mom working 9 to 5, but I remember there was a time that she told her mom that daddy doesn't work, he doesn't do anything, he just is at home or he would. And I had to break it down to her. I say, hey, listen, like, daddy's always on the clock. You know what I mean? And I know you don't understand right now. Like, I know your mom is a teacher. She works a 9 to 5 and then she gets home and she's with you. But just understand that daddy works a little bit differently, right? And so I broke it down to her. And now she's starting to understand it that, oh, daddy works differently. We're doing it like this. And so again, she's also a part of everything that we do. When she's with us, she's at the transformation center. She's around when we're on calls like this. RJ even knows like when I'll tell him, I say, Daddy has 2 calls today, and he's like, okay, and sometimes he'll sit in on my lap while I'm on the call. And so,
Like
it's
yesterday.
just like yesterday, exactly.
Yeah, when we first met.
You remember, yeah. And he fell asleep in my arms. But, it's just, I guess it's just, I don't know if the word is balance. It's not really balance. It's just, you just do everything with them and around them, and
Yeah.
so it just works out for us. It's no separation of work and family. I think it's just all together all at once.
Yeah, how your daughter's seeing, you know, both sides. How your ex is a teacher and how
Yep.
you're an entrepreneur.
Yep.
Zayda's going to school for business because she specifically sees me and has known me always for a business owner, but seeing that flexibility. Like, yeah,
Right.
she's seen the stressful moments. She's seen the moments where I'm like, oh shit, I don't know, what I'm going to do here. And but he sees being a business owner because me and Lena both are business owners, this household, that's what she wants. But she also
Yeah.
knows what to expect and what
Exactly.
you're going to have to go through. Um, has there, here you go. This is a question for you. How do you know when you're winning in business, but you're losing at home? Have you ever felt that way?
Yes. Yes, I have. And I'm trying to pinpoint a moment where that kind of hit me. Um, and I actually
It's
think
tough when it hits. Yeah.
and I actually think this is actually, well, I'll even bring up this. It was actually pretty recently too. Um, and it's not really business. I think it was more so the fact that I was competing, and competing takes a lot of effort, right? Especially if you want to do well, right? there's some people that compete just to compete, and there's some people that compete, and I compete at a high level. Like I'm competing against the best in the world. Like the shows that I'm entering, these are not like, like I'm not an amateur anymore. This is like I'm competing against the pros, the best in the world. And so because I'm clear that I'm competing against the best, there's certain things that I know that I have to show up and do, that I have to sacrifice family time in order to make happen. Um, and I remember in this prep, there was a point in time that it hit me. I was like, damn, like I really am neglecting, family a little bit in this space. My wife even called me out too because, I think it, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before too, how like I don't think it hits us until the baby is here, right? And I think I had an epiphany hit me. I was like, damn, wait a minute. She's actually pregnant, you know? And and for me, I was like, what have I done for her? Like, how have I been supporting her? Like it hit me like and and I don't even think I expressed this to her. I don't even think I don't think I said it to her, but it did hit me. And I was like, man, I must be failing as a not a dad, but a husband in this regard, right? Like, damn it, like, and I didn't tell her because I didn't want to tell her because she was gonna run with it. She's gonna be like, I told you, but I did have that moment where I was like, man, and so when I did have that moment, I remember I reached out to her and I said, hey, how are you feeling? With the pregnancy and everything. And I think she almost cried when I asked her that because I think it also hit her that damn, he didn't ask at all this whole time until now. And that was probably the one of the most recent moments where I was like, damn, like I've let so much, get away from me because I'm so focused on this show and winning and showing up my best in this space that I felt like I was neglecting her in this space too. So again, a part of who I am right now is I don't want to say I'm making up for it, but I am more cognizant of it. I'm not picking another show to do right away. I'm not like jumping back into prep or anything like that. I am still doing the things that I need to do for myself to, to feel good, like the cardio and stuff like that. But, I'm not like stepping away from the family to go to the gym right now. I'm not stepping away from the family to, go do 2 hours of cardio. I'm not doing any of that right now. I'm like, okay, let me be present and let me stay where I am and just do, you know, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but just do enough on this side of the thing, but also now focus more on family and her at the same time. So yeah, that was probably the most recent moment for me where it just kind of I had that epiphany. I was like, all right, I got to make some changes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Running a business, having goals, having ambition, um, it's hard to navigate both lanes and make
yeah,
sure you're giving enough time to both sides. Pedaling a bike and make sure you're touching sides on both grounds.
yeah,
It can get really difficult. And then when you, like you just said, when you actually realize it in a negative way, um, it's a tough feeling, and
yeah.
it's hard to admit. So yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
it's very
yeah.
hard. I
So
mean,
I totally
I
understand where you're coming from. Um,
yeah, I even made a post
what
about it talking about that too, like because and I just felt it on my heart to share with the world how I was feeling. I remember I made a recent post about it and I talked about how like, like what I do is not easy, although the world may think it's easy, you know? And so I made a whole post. It was kind of like, let me de-influence you, right? And share, the trials and tribulations and how hard this is. I remember the day of my show, and I was dead tired, Mike. Like I was super tired. I remember waking up at 4 a.m. I go compete. You know, um, when you do a show, it's very taxing on your body. And then after the show, we went as a family, went to go get some pizza. We stumbled across like this train festival by chance, and RJ loves trains, so we were
Hypers
walking
does
around.
too.
Yes, there we go, see?
Yeah.
And we were walking around, we're looking at these trains and stuff like that, and I just remember my body and my mind in that moment. I was like, I am so freaking tired. I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this. Now, mind you, here's the thing. My daughter had a recital that evening that I promised I was going to be at. And I wasn't going to miss it. But in my head, I'm like, I need to get myself together because this is not going to be easy. And we live an hour and a half away from where we were. So it's just all these things going through my head. So, we leave the festival. I'm already dead tired. We went to go visit my sister because we promised her we'll go see her because she loves RJ and she wants to see her nephew and things like that. So we spent some time with my sister. Then we went to the recital. When we went to the recital, before we got to the recital, my ex texted me. She said, "Hey, the recital's 2 hours." I said, "Oh shit. Okay. All right. Well, okay." So we get to the recital. We get there. I'm watching my daughter. She's excited that we're all there, like beaming. So that made me excited and happy. We stayed there for 2 hours. Did my best to record as much as I could. Then I had, from there, we took her home. Well, home is to her mom's place. Then I had to drive an hour and a half home. So we didn't get home until 11 p.m. And I made a post about it and I talked about how hard that was for me, how it wasn't easy. It was tough. And like, I mean, I think at one point I was falling asleep at the wheel. Um, and I don't normally, tell my wife when things like that are happening because I don't want to scare her. I don't want her to feel any type of way. And so I just remember thinking like, yo, this is gonna be tough. But I just pushed through, and eventually we made it home. It was a really, really successful day. But I was just like in my head, I need to share this with the world and let them know like it's not easy. And I don't even know how I'm doing it right now, but it's just know that what I just did is not simple, and I don't want to make everybody think that it was simple because it wasn't. It was very, very difficult. But I'm grateful for that day. It was highly successful. My daughter was happy, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the problem with social media is everybody sees, they think, what you do, what a
Yeah.
lot of, pros in the fitness industry do. They think it's easy and they don't think, obviously nobody really likes to post the negatives in life. And on my
Right.
personal page, I really try to emphasize posting as much content about, I don't like to say darkness, but being vulnerable. Like, yo, I've been here, I've been here, I've been here, but
Right.
I'm also here. So it's okay to be there, but just don't stay there, you know.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
so yeah, you gotta, and I think more men need to understand, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to
Yeah.
admit when it's heavy, when your
Yeah.
shoulders don't want to carry the weight. Yeah, we might be big and strong, but we're still weak. We have armor, but
Absolutely.
sometimes our
Yeah.
armor can get pierced. And
Absolutely.
I think more men like you, stating that helps other men realize, like, oh, okay, I'm not weak. I'm
Yeah.
good. It's just a moment in time. So,
Yeah.
what what do you think? What do you think fathers struggle with the most right now?
I think
What's
the
something you
what
wish more men would admit out loud?
I think well, okay, because I'm in the nutrition and fitness space, right? I think a lot of fathers struggle with the notion of like being fit and or being getting and staying fit. Like I think for them they think it's harder than what it really is. Um I think they struggle with the idea of like putting in consistent work in that space to get to where they want to be. I think a lot of fathers make excuses for themselves, especially after working with a lot of them. It's like, oh, my kids are this. It's always blame the kids or
Oh, blame the
blame,
kids.
you know what I mean? Blame the kids for their, you know, lack of something. And I always tell people, no, it's like, that's not the case at all because look at me and look at all the fathers that are doing it, despite kids that, and so do it for your kids, not in spite of your kids, right? And so I think if a lot of men, especially fathers, would admit to themselves that it is not your kid's fault that you're out of shape. It's not your kid's fault that you made certain decisions that have put you in the spot that you're in right now in terms of poor health and big stomachs and lack of strength or lack of energy. This is all you're doing, right? If more fathers would admit to themselves that they can make those changes and this despite whatever is happening in their household, then I think a lot of people, a lot of fathers would be in better positions. And so I think that's what a lot of men and a lot of fathers really struggle with right now is like admitting to themselves that, hey, listen, like your kids are not the ones that's holding you back from anything. Like I think that's the thing that everybody wants to run with. Oh, my kids, my kids, my kids. No, your kids aren't holding you back. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's you. Just like you already mentioned, Michael. The thing is that like your habits are what's going to determine what your kids' habits are. And if you constantly are blaming your kids, well, your kids are a reflection of you and the things that you've done. And so let's be honest and let's be clear in this situation that you still have control. You have control of your household. You have control of what goes on, but it starts with you making the changes and not making excuses for that to happen. And so that's my take. Fathers got to be more honest with themselves and understand that they can make those changes within, and how that's going to translate into their household over time if they make the changes themselves. So
Yeah, it's all structure, it's all time management. Then when you really
absolutely.
break down a dad full of excuses, you just go throughout this day and say, what do all you need is 45 minutes. If you can get an hour and a half, great. But what are you doing throughout your day where you can't get 45 minutes or, you know, have to be the 5 a.m. dad? Um, yeah, excuses with dads. I can't tolerate it.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. An out of shape dad is disrespecting his family because
100%.
you're unhealthy. Your kid doesn't want an unhealthy dad. Your kid doesn't want you to possibly have a heart attack tomorrow. Your kid doesn't want you
Exactly.
to make an excuse that you can't kick a soccer ball or run around with him.
Exactly.
You know, kids aren't asked to be born into this world. They're not
Right.
asked for lazy parents. They're not
Right.
they So if you want to have a kid, give be be the best parent that you can be, and I heavily believe 50% of that is health and fitness. So
Yeah, I agree.
it's not that
And I think
it's not that
also too, yeah, it's not. And
it's not
I
that
think
hard to
also
do.
too, it's like I think I think another thing that a lot of fathers kind of struggle with, and this is me working with fathers in the nutrition and fitness space. I've worked with fathers that have said like they feel as though like them working on themselves is neglecting their family. And I have to let them know, like, no, you working on yourself is actually helping your family, right? Putting yourself first is
Absolutely.
helping your family. But there's a lot of guilt around like, oh, I'm spending time at the gym. That means I'm spending, time away from my family. No, listen, that is what you need to do. That's important. You spending time in the gym is setting the example, one, for your kids, but it's also making you better for future experiences because the gym, no one leaves the gym and says, "Oh man, I hate it." You know what I mean? Or it's like a bad experience. You leave the gym, more than likely you're going to get better. You're going to improve your cardiovascular. You're going to improve aspects of your strength, aspects of your life, right? And so look at it from that, perspective. Put yourself first so that you can put your family first at the same time.
Yeah, a lot of people will message me or talk to me like outside of the IG, Instagram, and be like, man, some of the dads that you talk to, they look so intimidating, because you guys are in phenomenal shape and,
Yeah.
you know, look a little scary. And that's what I love about this podcast because the last two fitness dads,
Yeah.
after somebody listened to it, they would message me like, that wasn't what I was expecting. I'm like, yeah, they're just regular dudes. They're dads, just gladiators, you know,
Yeah.
looking phenomenal, but they also have hardships. They also have,
Absolutely.
how do I do this? They also seek help, and it's not
Absolutely.
easy for
Mm,
them. And so that's what I'm really enjoying. I'm not just going to talk to, dads and fitness because that's what I love. I'm also going to talk to dads that I don't agree with, which I'm
right.
looking forward to. Um, but yeah, getting people to understand the gym is not intimidating. Whenever somebody
Right.
says the gym's intimidating, it's like, no. If you go through those doors and you walk up to the biggest, buffest guy in there, I guarantee you, he will give you any advice for free because every single person at that gym is dealing with something, and every single
Yeah.
person at that gym wants to see that other person get better. So when I see someone out of shape at the gym, I'm super excited for them. I'm like, you
All
are
day.
doing something very difficult and I'm
Yeah.
here rooting you on. I don't know your name, but lady over there, I can't. I hope in a year you're still here and you're just setting the fast, you
Absolutely.
know.
All
And
day, man. I
honestly,
mean,
I wish
yeah.
someone, I wish I could go up to someone that's out of shape and say, hey, yo, respect what you're doing, but I still don't know how to go. It's kind of like when you see a pregnant woman or a fat woman, you don't know how to like, congratulations. Oh no, she's just fat. Like it's
Yeah.
hard to walk up to someone at the gym and give them kudos without maybe them taking it personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one thing I really wish I could do. But I
Yeah.
see so many people at the gym that I'm silently rooting for them, and then seeing them
Yeah.
shed their weight. And once they do shed their weight, that's when I'll approach them and be like, "Man, you look good, bro. Like I've been
Yeah.
watching you the last year." And that just, I'll stroke the shit out of your ego, bro. You deserve it.
Yeah. Listen, that's me in a nutshell, man. The amount of people that come up to me in the gym and ask questions, like I will gladly give you advice or even show you what to do or whatever. Anything that you're looking for from me, like I'm an open book. And then I think that's standard gym culture. You know what I mean? I think what people think is intimidating, it really isn't there. It's just, that's just, their initial thoughts of it. But I think
Yeah.
anytime you go up to somebody in a gym that knows what they're doing, they would gladly tell you what, give you some advice to what to do next and stuff. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
Sharif doesn't always need to be paid.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, the amount of free advice I give, man, like if I was paid for all the advice I give, yeah, I'd be I'd be close to a millionaire by now.
uh,
For sure.
what uh, what makes your wife an incredible mother?
Oh man, she's everything, man. I watch her. So prior to her becoming a mom, I, I had a feeling that she would be a great mom. But now seeing her, in motherhood, it just it's phenomenal to see. Like the way she, raises our son and even our daughter. I know the daughter, my daughter is not her daughter, but she's been in my daughter's life pretty much her whole life. She's just remarkable. Like she's loving, she's caring, she's stern, right? Even in areas where I feel like I'm not as stern, she's more stern and like, making sure things are done. Um, but she's just all around just great. I mean, there's so much I can say about her, but she embodies motherhood and she does it so well. And she makes it look easy too. She does make it look easy. There's times where I personally would get frustrated with RJ with certain things and she doesn't get phased by it. She sometimes will even tell me like, "Hey, listen, like, the reason why he's acting like that is because he's tired. You don't need to get frustrated or anything like that. He's just tired." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I could see that." Um,
And he
but
doesn't
she's
know how
just
to handle his emotions yet.
exactly,
So
exactly. And she's so aware of those things but she's just a good mom. Like I watch her like, even in pregnancy now, like I watch her, she'll get on the floor, hands and knees and on the floor with our son. She's building train sets and tracks and stuff, and she's doing puzzles with him. And in fact, she does the bedtime stuff with him pretty much almost every night. And I just admire her for all the things that she does, and she doesn't, honestly, she doesn't really complain about anything. Um, well, I'll take that back. She doesn't complain often, but she still just gets stuff done. Like she makes zero excuses. There isn't a time where I feel like she's not going to show up for our son. You know what I mean? And like that's hard. That's not easy to say because I do feel like there are moments I've seen other parents and stuff like that not show up, but she just shows up like nonstop. Like our son is well taken care of, our kids are well taken care of, and it starts with her. So
How do you stay connected as husband and wife while raising kids?
now that's a whole nother ball game. And I'll be honest
There's
with you,
seasons.
it's yeah,
Right now, there's seasons.
that's what I would say. It's their
Yeah,
seasons. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, there's seasons where we're really connected, and then there's seasons where we're not. And I think we're in that season where we're not. Um, but we both are aware of it, you know. We have our arguments here and there and stuff like that. We even have a mentor that we talk to every week, or I'm sorry, every month. Um, that is kind of like our mediator, but also kind of like just um our support, our guidance, and all of these things. And he's helping us identify things in both of us that, when we are like this to each other, we say it to him, and then he's like, "Hey, this is what she meant. This is what he meant." You know what I mean? And help put it all together for us. And so, yeah, we are in that season, but I do feel like, with me no longer in prep, things are going to start getting a little bit better because there's going to be more time between the both of us and stuff. She even asked me the other day, and I always know when things are kind of weird because, and I know my wife and I know the questions that she asked me and what she's looking for. She sent me a picture of herself, and then, asked me verbatim, she said, "Do you still find me sexy even with my belly?" And of course, I'm like, hell yeah, you know what I mean? But she needed that confirmation from me. She
Yeah.
needed me to say that. Um, so it's like little things like that that I'm like, okay, I'm getting more present to. Um, but yeah, for the most part, so we're in that season right now, but it's gonna change. It's changing right now, right in front of us. So
Oh yeah, man. Ebbs and flows, just like in
yeah,
business. You
yeah,
know, you think everything's fine, but yeah, that one little question, it's like
yeah,
shit. You
yeah,
get that oh shit moment. You're like, God damn it, I should have known
yeah,
better. I should,
yeah,
So I dropped the ball, and and that's what makes relationships strong is going through those, but understanding, not to jump ship, not to
yeah,
overreact, put it back together, get back on course.
yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, good for you for being able to identify that, and not taking it
Yeah.
personally either. So taking it personally, sometimes when a man gets something like that, I have that habit. I'll take it personally, like, oh, I'm not doing enough.
Mm,
I'm not providing. I'm not doing this, but she's not saying that.
yeah,
She just wants to be seen, and I get
that's
that.
it.
Yeah,
That's it.
and it's so easy, and we can drop it so easy, like
Yeah,
just the little things. So,
just the little
what
things. Yep.
what do you hope your kids learn watching you and your wife about relationships?
I hope they learn, what a loving relationship looks like, I will say that RJ, our son, he sees that. He sees us like, hugging, he sees us kissing, and every single time, like Michael, I swear, every single time he sees us hug and kiss, he has a big smile on his face. And when he has that big smile on his face, he rushes on over to jump in the middle between us, like either to give us a hug or just to be a part of it. And, that always, touches my heart every single time because I can tell that he's a loving kid and he loves love. He really genuinely loves love. And so he loves it when we're embracing each other. Um, and
That's
actually,
awesome.
his interaction also personally for me, and my wife probably doesn't even know this, but it actually makes me want to embrace her more because of his interaction. And it's not that I don't want to embrace my wife, but it's just him seeing it makes it even more real for me. It was like, okay. And then his big smile on his face, he gets so happy. I was like, okay, I want to see that smile more often. I want him to be happy and I want him to see what a loving relationship really looks like. And he's seeing that right now. And my daughter too. My daughter's seeing it as well.
Yeah, how she should be treated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cypress, every time we come home, I'll get him at the Boys Girls Club after the gym, and every time we come home, he gets to kiss mom first. I don't get to kiss mom first. Like,
Oh, I love that.
every time we leave the house in the morning, he gets to kiss mom first. I don't get to kiss mom first. So yeah,
I love that.
he sees that intimacy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I love that, because growing up in the 80s and 90s, that wasn't really the norm.
It
So,
wasn't. It
it
wasn't
was, but
even
not really around me. So,
and it wasn't a norm in my household growing up, so that's
yeah,
kind of like I think that's also why I feel, and my wife kind of knows this. That's probably why I feel this way I feel sometimes when it comes to like affection and public displays of affection. I didn't grow up in a household where that was common, between
yeah.
my mom and my dad. And so it's still a little weird to me, but again, it's getting less and less weird every time that we do it, so
We have a lot of common. Yeah, right.
yeah.
I definitely feel you. So I think this is maybe that
Yeah.
43-year-old thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot a couple questions at you real quick. Just give some
Sure.
short answers.
Yep.
Favorite thing about being a girl dad?
Favorite thing about being a girl dad. Favorite thing about being a girl dad. I'll just go with my first instinct. She softened me. She softened me for sure.
And that's a true answer. Your first instinct.
That's a true answer. Yep.
That's a true answer,
100%.
man.
Yep.
What's favorite thing about being a boy dad?
Oh man. I just feel like I have a permanent male best friend. You know what I mean? Like I have that that boy that I can kind of grow with and do a lot of boy stuff with, so that's like my best friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, every night when I tuck Cypress into bed, that's the last thing I tell him. I go, "You're my best friend." He goes, "I know,
Best friend. Yeah.
Dad." And
I love that.
sometimes
Yeah.
I'll be when I drop him off at school, I'm like, "Hey, Cy, guess what?" He goes, "Dad, I know you're my best friend."
My
And
best
he
friend.
shuts the door. Like, damn right, I'll drive off.
I love that. I love that. Yep.
Other than
Yep.
that, I think being a boy dad, it's a natural TRT replacement.
It is. It
Like,
is. Yep. It is.
if
It
you got
it
lucky and
definitely
you have
is.
a boy, somehow you're just gonna go back up.
I
So,
agree. I agree.
what's uh, what's one thing every father should do this week, tomorrow when they wake up?
Kiss their kids.
Yes, they're kids.
Yep. Kiss their
I love
kids.
that.
Embrace them. Embrace their kids. Let them know that they love them. Um, Again, like you just never know, what can happen in this world at any point in time. So I always let RJ know where I stand. The same thing with my daughter. I always let them know where I stand. I love you every single day. I kiss them every single day. Um, and they know that their dad genuinely loves them. So
I love that, man. I love that.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, Cyber still loves to give me kisses.
yeah,
We did have to say, okay, no more kisses on the lips. You're getting a little older. But yeah,
yeah,
kiss on the
yeah,
cheeks, kiss on the forehead.
for sure.
But
Yeah,
yeah, kissing your kids, affecting, hugs
yeah,
all
yeah,
day, man. All day.
absolutely,
What's
absolutely.
your definition of a dope dad?
Damn, that's tough, man. My definition of a dope dad is one that is present and I'm trying to figure out a word that kind of embodies what I want to say. I think it's like present and just cool, but cool meaning like a dad that doesn't take themselves too seriously. You know what I mean? Like I think for me sometimes when I look at certain dads, like at least the way I am, it's like I'm not like too cool or I mean I'm sorry, too serious to be like right at all times. I'm able to admit when I'm wrong, especially when I'm having conversations with my daughter. I tell her all the time, I'm like, you know what, my bad. I made a mistake when it comes to there. But a dad that's like my dad was, where it's just like he's too prideful to even admit that he was wrong. I think that's not a cool dad. So the dad that can can be a dad, but also be a friend at the same time and admit when they're wrong and grow with their kids. That's a cool dad to me.
It's so powerful when you can apologize to your kid. Like when
Absolutely.
I apologize to Sai, I don't stand and look at him. I don't look down at him. I will get on my knee and I'll look at him at his level and I'll
Yeah.
tell him, sorry, dad was wrong. And
Yeah.
them hearing and you admitting that you're wrong is so powerful for kids
It
to hear.
is. It
And
is.
yeah, and it's hilarious too because typically when we're apologizing, we're being a child, right? We're
Hmm.
being childish, and yeah, it's and this child's looking at us like, what the fuck is what?
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
looking at this
Like,
kid, like, oh, this kid just put me in place, and he's right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's right. Yeah. I've had many apologies to my daughter. Like, hey, you know what? I'm so sorry. I was wrong.
that's
Right?
huge. That's so huge,
Yeah.
man. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
I believe getting on kids' levels is the way you need to speak to kids sometimes. Like when I'm
Yeah.
coaching, I'll have them huddle up and I don't stand there. I'll get on my
Yeah.
knee so they can see me eye to eye when
I
I'm
love
talking to
that.
them and addressing, a drill or addressing the topic of the day, like discipline. Because I don't just coach soccer, I make sure I coach respect, discipline,
Yeah.
all of that. If you want to play, you listen to your parents and you listen to your teacher. If I hear you're not listening to your parents or teacher, you ain't playing. So,
I agree. I
yeah.
love that.
Imagine your children are watching this episode 20 years from now, or they're watching, listening. What's one thing you want them to know about their dad? What's one message you would leave them if they came
I would
back
just say,
tomorrow?
I would say, Dad did his best. That's all I would say. Dad did his best.
And one message you would leave them.
So the message I will leave them is Dad did his best. And so I want them to know that I wasn't perfect, but I did my best, and I want them to understand that I love them. I've always done everything in my power to raise them right, and so just leaving it at Dad did his best. I'll leave it at that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, man. Oh yeah. Where can everybody find you and connect with you at? Where's your favorite place? Instagram?
Yeah, so on Instagram, Fit Dad, FITDAD, no underscore, no nothing. So FITDAD. I'm the one and only Fit Dad. On Facebook, you can find me Sharif Taiwo. So it's my first and last name, Sharif, spelled just like sheriff, and then Taiwo, Taiwo. I'm also on YouTube. Me and my wife, we have a YouTube channel together. You can search for Jet and Reef, JETANDREEF. And those are my primary, social media channels. I'm not really big on TikTok or anything like that, but Fit Dad on Instagram is my primary social media account. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll definitely put that all in the show notes. So if anybody wants to go follow you, Refit Online Coaching, we'll have in the show notes if anybody wants to connect with you for what kind of coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. So Refit LLC is the name of my high ticket coaching business. I help a lot of busy dads, busy professionals, really get in shape, support them with nutrition, custom nutrition regimens, custom workout regimens, accountability, check-ins, all of those things. So if your goal is to transform, get in the best shape of your life, then Refit is a great option for you in order to do so.
Is that a month to month? Is that a 6 month program or one
So
year? How do those packages work?
yeah, great question. So I always have my clients commit to 6 months. 6 months to me is like the sweet spot. 3 months is a little too short because I feel like, it takes people a little bit of time to kind of get acclimated to changing their lifestyle. And so 3 months, you can burn through 2 months just trying to get people to change their lifestyle. But 6 months is that sweet spot. Yeah.
Absolutely. I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
The Vibe Transformational Center, 3,000 square feet of Center for Wellness. Give us a
Absolutely.
brief description. I know it's going to be a little bit harder for everybody to go there,
Yeah.
but give us a description of,
Yeah.
that whole complex.
Absolutely. So the Vibe Transformation Center is our local center where we host a couple things. So we have a nutrition bar where we serve delicious, healthy shakes along with energy drinks and other additional protein products. And then we also host instructor-led group fitness classes twice a day in the evenings from 1 at 5:30 and 1 at 6:30, Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday, we have two classes at 9 a.m. and at 10 a.m. So if you're looking to get in the best shape of your life and you happen to be local to the Hagerstown area, Hagerstown community in Washington County, then the Vibe Transformation Center is for you.
All right, man. And Herbalife. Don't know much about Herbalife, but if somebody wants Herbalife, what's uh what's it about and how can they get
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Herbalife is a global nutrition company. It's actually the number one nutrition company in the world. Recently, we actually got backed by Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the top athletes in the
it?
world.
Okay.
We have nutrition supplements for everyday athletes. We have nutrition supplements for the everyday person. So whether you're trying to get in shape or just get healthier and feel better, there's a lot of amazing products that's available from Herbalife. The only way you can get it is through a distributor like myself. And so not only will you be able to get access to the products through a distributor like myself, but I also like to support anyone who purchases products with additional information to support them in getting the results. So, like for example, if you order, the nutritious shakes and you order the energizing drinks and all of those things, more than likely I will provide you with like a nutrition regimen that you can follow in order to get the best results possible, for sure.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. Man, it's been a pleasure, man. I didn't expect this podcast to go so long, but connected with you in so many ways. I think we're definitely going to have to sit down and talk more.
Yeah.
And as your family grows, hear more of your ups and downs because we always hear the up, but I think men like you sharing a couple of the downs here and there definitely
Yeah.
help other men out there understand that they're not alone. So I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I appreciate you, Michael, for having me on this podcast. I think there's having an outlet like this for dads and anybody who's in a position to be a dad or just wants some more information around what fatherhood would look like. This is a great podcast to get some insight on that. There's been a lot of phenomenal guests. Michael is a great host, and so I'm honored to have been invited. So thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to share my story and just give some insight coming directly from myself and stuff. So again, I appreciate you, and we love what you're doing. Keep doing it because we need more outlets like this. And so I thank you for inviting me on. And yeah, it was a lot of fun for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Have a good one. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to That Dope Dad. Please like, subscribe, and join the conversation on our socials at @ThatDopeDad_podcast on Instagram or email Michael directly at contact@thatdopedad.com.